Welcome, everyone, to Starcaster Radio. I have Naomi and Barbara, and I'm Jules, and we are here to connect with you all as we create a star home here on the new earth. We are just creating a frequency where everyone can radiate their light without any judgment or fear of not connecting to others. This is our family, and we are just creating a community of high vibe people. And I am going to turn it over to Barbara to start us out with a little prayer of protection.
Thank you, Julie. I call in the light of the Creator to protect us and to walk with us throughout the session and to give us exactly what needs to be said in the most positive way, and to enlighten all those who listen and hear our voices. So it is. Amen.
Amen. It is done. Okay, so I'll just kind of recap what we talked about last week. We were talking about moving into the fifth dimensional matrix. And after just having some time to sit with that, we have decided that the fifth dimensional matrix is limiting, and so we're going to ask to be connecting to the new earth matrix, because already I feel that the new earth is expanding way past the fifth dimension. And so we asked for this download of our heart matrix to connect, or the third dimensional matrix to connect to the new earth matrix. And this has been such an exciting week for me personally, and I know it has for Naomi and Barbara. Naomi, do you want to share some of the experiences that you've had this week?
Yes, I would love to. So we made the intention to download, to make a download for our heart to recognize the frequencies of the new earth. And I could just feel this in myself, and I could feel it ripple across to each member of my family. And so many wonderful and beautiful things happened this week. But one I would love to share with you is we were sleeping, and my 7-year-old daughter came in the middle of the night and climbed in bed with us. And she whispered in my ear, "I love you so much. And my love can't fit in my heart anymore, and I'm going to be receiving a new heart." And so it touched me so much for her to have these feelings and then be able to share them with me.
That gives me chills.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
And so what about you guys? How have you felt opening this grid inside of your heart?
Well, for me, I've had a really outstanding week since we last spoke on the podcast, and I have felt some of the very same things about my family being just different, so much more loving and full of light. My husband and I, we had a conversation, and we talked about the new earth, and which is not normal for him. You know, he's just not into all of that, and so we spoke about it, and he said if I would help him to remind him, you know, when his frequencies were going down or whatever, that he felt uncomfortable, you know. So I did, and he has just been different, and our whole household has felt different. I can't really put my finger on it, but everything is flowing really like it's been, like we used silicone or something on our relationship. I don't know how to say it other than that. It's just smooth. and that's not normal for our household. We're all, very opinionated people, and that usually causes some clashing. But it has really, I have felt the frequencies change dramatically, and everything I have tried to do has been so much easier. And when I feel resistance or I feel some agitation or judgment, I remind myself that that's not where I want to be. So I'm pulling myself back into the higher vibration and frequencies when I feel myself lowering my frequencies. And it's just been something that has been a lot easier, let me say, than normally was. So I can feel the difference. I know that we're moving into this new Earth matrix. I have no doubt. And I always had a question, how would this feel? How am I going to know this is happening? Well, I can tell you, if you pay attention to small details such as what I described, I can guarantee you it's working in your life as well. So that's my class.
I totally agree. Oh, that's so beautiful, Barbara. And you know what I love about what you just said is that it's a choice. And so when our frequencies start to lower for whatever reason, that it's that choice to remain or to re-choose to enter the new Earth frequencies is always there. And I think it's like that choice and choosing that over and over again is really what's raising our frequency, because we're interrupting those parts of our mind that want to keep us in the 3D reality. And by acknowledging it, witnessing it, and then choosing something different is literally activating our brain to a higher level of consciousness. And I just absolutely love that you said that. And I know for me this week, I have had this visualization of, and I haven't really been visualizing the matrix so much in my heart, but just I see it more in my mind. And when I would go into a place of worry or, kind of connect more to those lower vibrational thought patterns, I would see the matrix in my mind connect to the matrix in the new Earth. And it was by doing that, then I could feel my heart open. And it's as I opened it, I just really moved past that feeling of being separate and fully embracing what it means to trust. And and when I would witness myself going through it, it was I wasn't trusting because I thought everything was going to work out, quote unquote, the way I wanted it to. I was fully trusting because I honestly trusted that whatever was to transpire was going to be for the highest good. And I trusted it whether it felt like it was going my way or not. And that is a really neat thing for me to just really let go and not have, I guess really what it was doing is taking away the judgment, like you said.
And the fear.
And the fear, absolutely, the fear. And I think, and I've been talking to a few people, bringing up the fear part, is what I've noticed is that as we move into the new Earth frequencies more and more, that little things kind of trigger that fear response. And I kind of go in to read the energy pattern behind it. And part of what I think it is that our physical bodies don't recognize where we're going. So it's almost I guess an example would be walking down a dark alley, and your body is going to go into kind of this protective mode or fight or flight mode, waiting for danger to happen. And it's almost as we're moving into these new Earth frequencies, that happens every once in a while because our bodies don't recognize such a high frequency, and so it thinks it's almost going into a place of danger. So I think that that's kind of that blanket that we were talking about last week, and to just be as we're going through that static, to remind ourselves that there's nothing to fear, and to just keep going back to that trust and flow.
Absolutely. Also, I noticed one thing, if I could interject real quick, that I think our ego self too is trying to hold on to what we perceive to be us, this physical body. And I have noticed that I've have had a bit of a war between my ego self wanting to pull me back into this personality that I am, that I perceive myself to be, and that I am trying to really recognize too, especially when I drop my frequencies down, such as, let's say, a conflict or a disagreement with especially your family members, which happens so easily, because we just flip back into that mode. That I have noticed that I try to recognize, that's the ego self we call Barbara, but that's not who I am. And it immediately shifts me back into a frequency where I feel totally centered and empowered, and I don't interact in the way I would normally interact if I just take that time, count to 1, count to 5, whatever you want to do. Just give yourself a bit of a space before you react. It really has helped me.
I love that. I also, as you were saying that, it reminded me of yesterday, just how, the density of our bodies is changing. And I had this message come in yesterday that we're supposed to start asking that our food is light medicine, or that it's light frequency, and so that when we're putting something of a denser energy into our body, that it's our bodies are actually registering it as a light medicine or light nutrition, because there's a part of our body that's already moving into the light body, and that we need to be feeding both of them.
I love that.
I fully agree, and in relation to that, I have been guided to make these charger plates. So I'm calling them charger plates. But I've been doing some research on the shungite mineral and how important that mineral is, and how it was given to us billions of years ago, and it has just now, within the last 50 years, resurfaced for our time here to assist us here on Earth at this particular time, where we can actually measure how the shungite protects us from EMF rays, and how it sends our body into a clockwise movement, which is of the light. And because of all of the disturbances and everything we have here with the EMF rays and the negativity and all the stuff that's happening on the third dimensional Earth plane, our bodies are constantly fighting and going back and forth into this counterclockwise movement. As you mentioned, the food we eat has all kinds of chemicals and whatever in it, which causes our bodies to not function properly. So in response to what you were saying, the intention of making our food into light energy for our body is perfect. And I'm going to be making some of these plates, and I'm going to send them to both of y'all. I want you to try them out and see what you think. But you embed the shungite along with silver into a resin-based shape, and you set your food on top of this, and it actually transforms the food into a light food embedded with light. It's a type of scalar energy, and I'm just over the moon with this. I've got all kinds of ideas I'm going to do and to help us during this transition time and keep our bodies flowing in the right, with the scalar energy and the right motion. Anyhow,
I love that.
Yeah, that was long enough. Sorry.
No.
So, Barbara, I know just because if people are listening to this, they may want to jump on board and have one of those plates too. How can somebody get a hold of you if they're interested in that?
Well, Naomi and I were talking about it the other day, and I mentioned something about it. So I'm thinking I have an Etsy shop, and I will probably put them on Etsy, but I will have to get back with them once I get them all perfected and everything, because I'm going to have also offer stickers that you can put on your cell phones to keep down the EMF waves, which causes cancer and all kinds of bad stuff. You can put them on your refrigerator, which all kinds of things. But I will have those in the future. I'm in the process of working all of that up right now.
Okay, so maybe for now, go ahead, Naomi.
No, I just would love to test it. I can't wait.
Oh my gosh, absolutely. So eventually we will put a link on our website that, and the website is starcasterradio.com. So we'll have a little link on there for if people are interested in the future. So Naomi, I want to hear kind of just like what's going on with your I want you to go in and just kind of talk a little bit about what you were feeling in your heart and kind of I feel like some downloads coming in. So if you could just maybe talk a little bit about that, and we'll see if something comes in.
Okay, I would love to. First, let's start with when Barbara was just talking about your body is for balance to go in a clockwise direction. I just got a really loud message that we needed to ask for a download.
Good.
For our chakra system to go in a clockwise direction.
And to expand on that, I'm hearing that we want the download for our energy system to be going in a clockwise direction, but also that the level of speed be at the most appropriate speed for our level of consciousness right now, and to gradually move to the speed of the new Earth matrix.
Yes, that is so perfect.
Perfect, yes, I like that.
So this morning I kind of have a routine I do every morning, but before the kids get up, before I wake them up from school, I sit down and I take 15 to 30 minutes and I just sit down and relax and kind of clear my mind for any messages from my higher self or from the Council of Light or Galactic Community to come in. And I just hold space during that time when the house is quiet and the sun is just starting to rise. And so this morning I was sitting down and I was concentrating on my heart and just my connection inside of my heart, the grid inside of my heart. And I just felt the grid. I'll put it into words of what it felt like, but it felt like it was the grid of the new Earth connecting to the grid inside of my heart. And it felt so good. It did feel like the unknown because it's not something my mind understood. So I was stepping into the unknown, the void inside your heart. But I felt the new Earth grid kind of overlay on top of my heart grid, and I didn't hesitate. I didn't resist. It just felt awesome. And the new Earth grid clicked inside of my grid and turned in a clockwise direction. And I just feel when Barbara was talking about the clockwise direction, that is what it felt like. And it just felt like everything was flowing good, and the frequencies coming in, you can't even really put them into words because I've never experienced it before. It's new. It's the unknown. But it was so loving and peaceful and joyful and blissful. But those words don't even describe how wonderful it is.
On talking about energies coming in, it reminded me of this past week we were talking. I had decided that I was going to make an intention to do something just before I went to bed. Whatever came to me, I was going to make an intention, and then I was going to sleep and see what came up. And I have been keeping a journal each night that I have something that comes up from my intention. But the most amazing thing was the first night I asked for the intention to move into the fifth density and hold that in my body while I slept. And as I dozed off to sleep, I felt this energy coming into my body so strong that it felt like my heart was palpitating. It woke me up. It was so strong. And I had to focus for a minute to try to figure out where this energy was coming from. And what I realized is it wasn't coming from my physical heart. It was coming from my heart chakra. And it was buzzing and moving so strong that my whole body was vibrating. And I had to take a couple of deep breaths and ask myself and, say to myself, do you want to calm this down or do you want to go with it? And because we have the ability to ask them, the light, whatever we've intended, we have the ability to back off if it's too uncomfortable physically for us. So I had to ask myself that question. And when I did, I got, no, I'm going for it. And when I did, it was like everything was fine. And I went right back to sleep. And then I woke up in the middle of the night, and it was still there, only it wasn't as strong. And I just was at peace with it and went back to sleep. But I have noticed when I woke up in the morning, it wasn't there. But I have noticed that each night when I go to sleep now, I feel that coming in, that energy coming in. It's not as strong, or I don't notice it. I think I'm acclimating to it more, but as it was when I first asked for it. But it was a real blessing for me because it taught me that all we have to do is ask. All we have to do is intend on something. So that's what I wanted to share with you.
I love that, Barbara. And it's so true. I love that, it's all that we have to do is ask. And then I feel like the part about that just expands it and makes it even more powerful is the act of witnessing it happening. And, and sometimes I always have this thing when I do healings and if I give people homework, I always say, when you state an intention, always end it with thank you and then show me and then sit for a few minutes and watch the energy pattern begin. And it doesn't mean that energy pattern has to be completed, but at least you're witnessing the pattern coming in and shifting. And it's in that witnessing of it shifting, it's almost what would it become? I don't know. It's almost like asking somebody, instead of asking somebody oh, well, you go get me a glass of milk, and you're like, thanks for doing that, and not giving them a chance to say no because you've already said thank you.
I love that. You've already accepted it, so it's too late. I love that. I will definitely use that one.
Thanks for getting me that glass of milk. I really appreciate it. And then they're like, wait, what? But I think it's the same thing with, the universe. When we ask something and we say thank you, it's already done.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're acknowledging that it's done. I love that. That's very powerful.
It's so simple. Our minds would have us believe it was so challenging, but it is really just so simple with the intention.
Absolutely.
And I feel as we raise in frequency and, and of course, as we raise in frequency, we raise in consciousness, but it's just having that conscious awareness more and more and more that we truly are creator beings, and that it just things are starting to happen more quickly because we're just more in resonance with that place of just ask and receive. I think that's always been true, but when we're in a denser or lower vibration, it just there's a lot more programs or static to go through in order to manifest, what our desires are. And now that we're like raising in frequencies, you know, like, and I truly believe like when we have a desire, it's not just our desire. It's the desire of, you know, our creator. It's the desire of our higher self. Like, it's not just something that we're coming up with. It's like, this is part of that matrix. It's like, you know, not everybody in the matrix is going to be called to do the same thing. And so we have to have this inspiration and desire in order to all work together to make that grid, the grid work. And so now it's like as we raise in frequency, when we have those desires or downloads or inspirations, it just seems like it's just happening quicker. And not only quicker, but with more joy in the heart.
Absolutely. That's beautiful. That's exactly how I feel about it, too. Yes.
Well, I have an intention that I would like to share.
Okay.
We've all had, it sounds like this week, we've all had glimpses into how it would feel living in the new earth. We've all had these experiences and gotten these gifts of frequency. So I would like to make an intention for us to be able to stay longer and hold these new earth frequencies longer throughout our days.
I love that. And just like as you were saying that, it reminded me of just how it kind of feels to have those interactions. Like, because when I feel I'm in that new earth matrix, my heart, it feels like I'm falling in love. Like, and I'm like, but I'm not actually falling in love with another person. I'm just falling in love in general. And so that love expands into everybody that I interact with.
Beautiful. Yeah, I'm feeling the same thing as well. I've always been a very emotional, empathetic person. I feel other people's pain and joy to the point that sometimes it's ridiculous because I get so emotional, I cry. I get choked up. And I have tried to restrain myself because, you know, I feel like it's not appropriate. But now I'm beginning to change my mind. I think that is just the way our body releases so much love and energy that it has to come out some way. And it's a beautiful thing for it to happen in that way. And so I have made an intention that I'm going to accept however my body needs to deal with this overabundance of love and empathy and energy.
Oh,
I love it.
I would like to ask for a download. I really resonate with what you said, Barbara. And sometimes we're even shedding density and don't even realize it, and it's really beneficial. So why hold that back?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So what would be a good wording for a download around this?
How about, okay, this is reminding me of something that we were kind of talking about the other day, Naomi, about how, like, as we move into these higher frequencies and, like, you know, and that's going to mean, like, you know, amplifying that feeling of love and, you know, these joyful feelings as well as everything else. But, like, and kind of like what I was describing earlier, is that if our body doesn't recognize it as something that we've experienced before, it's going to like have like it's like having a virus come into your body. It's going to resist it a little bit. So how about that the download is that our mind, body, and spirit on every level of our existence fully embraces the highest frequency of love and all emotions of love and above fully into our bodies with ease and grace and consciousness, even, so that we know that our body is accepting a higher frequency, and so we can really witness the miracle of that happening.
I do.
I love it. Beautiful. I think well said. Yes.
I think this would be a good time to consciously step onto the platform of the new earth, our golden platform of light, and put our hands at our heart center in prayer position and just breathe in the beautiful gift of frequency that the Council of Light is sharing with us.
That feels so good.
I've brought my crystal ball into the mix today.
Ooh.
I got the message that I needed to bring it in, and before we started the session, I got the message to turn on the music that is resonating at 432 hertz, I believe it is, which is healing the body, the DNA, the new energies. So I did, and I let my crystal ball absorb the energies, and then I brought it into our circle. So it has been really emotional for me because I haven't used my crystal ball in a while, and I just think it's the right time. So I wanted to share that with everyone.
I love that. And let's just ask that, the Galactic Council and the Council of Light use that as an amplifier and just allowing just those really high frequencies and that activated DNA to spread to our star family.
Beautiful. I love that. Thank you.
Well, Naomi, would you like to do a closing prayer for us?
Oh, I'd love to. This has just been such a powerful week. Just standing in our power and opening our heart to the grid of the new earth and stepping into the unknown and feeling all these new frequencies and carrying that with us in this dimension that we live in. And even though we're on the third dimension, bringing in those new earth frequencies and sharing them and amplifying them, and just receiving these gifts from the council and being the person that we chose to be and vibrating our star origin. So the prayer today is just to continue, for us all just to continue on our journey and creating this family where we can hold space for everyone inside of the new earth. And just stand on our platform of light and connect, and just sending out a message to everyone in our star family and the new earth that we love you and we support you and welcome home.
Oh, welcome home.
Thank you.
Right, so we will say goodbye, and we're just sending you all so much love for this week, and namaste to both Naomi and Barbara and all of our star family out there.
And then love and energy to all. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. Love you. Bye-bye.
Bye.